Hi, welcome back. My name's Kalen Kennedy and this is Making Sawdust. I've got a fun birthday build for you this week. Inspired by Bob from the YouTube channel I Like to Make Stuff, I'm going to build my wife an air hockey table. It's about the only thing she's competitive at, so I can't wait to see her face when I give it to her. Let's get started. The first step of my design is to laminate this piece of whiteboard to this piece of MDF. I cut my MDF a little bit bigger than the whiteboard, and I'll trim it afterward with a flush trim bit on my router. Make sure you use plenty of glue and have something to spread it around. In this case, I'm using a 3-inch putty knife. Let's see how it turned out. The edge seems really well attached. The next step is to clean up some of the glue squeeze out with a chisel and then use a flush trim bit on a router. Before I use the router, I'm going to put down painter's tape across the entire surface. That'll protect the whiteboard from the faceplate on the router, and then it'll also hopefully reduce tear out when I drill, I don't know, like 1,000,000 holes in the top to turn it into the top of the air hockey table. Now that is a smooth finish. This'll work great. Alright, just got done putting a bunch of lines down, spaced 1 inch apart, going both directions on the board. And everywhere those lines intersect, I'm going to put a 1/16 inch wide hole. Might use a finishing nail to create a divot that'll guide the bit, but if I can skip that step, I will. Alright, so I don't need the finish nail to start a divot. I can use 2 pieces of wood to get it started, and this also makes sure that when I start the hole, the drill bit is vertical. Well, 1 down, still more than 1,000 to go. Oh, 1,152 holes drilled. That took longer than even I imagined. There's a few things I did learn along the way. Firstly, don't worry about trying to get the holes 90 degrees to the surface. I don't think it's going to matter, and it took a lot of extra time. Secondly, to make sure your drill doesn't tear up the painter's tape, drill the hole through a scrap piece of wood. In this case, I used a sliver of maple. And thirdly, if you have multiple drills, put bits in each of them and alternate back and forth. I broke about 7 bits drilling the first, 300 or 400 holes. But once I started alternating about 4 holes on a drill and then a change, I only broke 2 or 3 more bits in the rest of this project. So that really helped. I think when the bits get hot, they become more brittle and likely to break. Next step of this project is to rip some stock down to 8 inches out of this plywood. That's the thickness of the air hockey table. So all the sides, and even a couple more pieces, are going to be 8 inches thick. I'm going to do that with the circular saw guide. Alright, I made 3 rips at 8 inches. Now it's time to cut them to length on the miter saw. I need 2 pieces that are 58 inches and 9/16 long, and then I need 4 pieces at 23 7/8. I've already got the miter saw set up to 58 9/16. But because it's 8 inches wide, I might have to make it in 2 cuts, where I cut, flip, and cut again. We'll see. Alright, all the pieces are cut to length. Now it's time to put some dados on them to hold the top of the air hockey table. The top is 1 inch thick, and I've only got a 1/2 inch wide bit, so it'll take a few passes on the router table to get it wide enough to hold the top. Alright, I've run everything through the router once. You'll notice for the long sides of the table, I stopped the blade short of the ends. That's because the tabletop's not going to come all the way to the end. There needs to be that area for the puck to go after somebody scores a goal. Don't need to worry about the ends because I'll be running a dado this way to hold some other pieces. Now we just got to move the fence over and do it again. Alright. Got done making the dado for the top, as well as the dados on either end for the cubby that makes up the goal. Next up is to put an additional dado 1.5 inches lower for a sheet of 1/4 inch plywood. Even though it's called 1/4 inch, it's actually less, and I don't have a bit for my router table narrow enough, so we'll do it in a couple passes on the table saw. Alright, things are fitting together beautifully. Top fits in, the 1/4 inch plywood underneath fits in, the ends fit into the sides. But unfortunately, I've just run out of time for this project right now. Hopefully I can come back in a week or 2 and finish it up. Still have to work on the goal areas, as well as add the air from underneath and some trim so it doesn't look like plywood. If you enjoyed this video, please like and comment down below. If you want to see more, subscribe. Have a great weekend, and as always, get out there and make some sawdust. "1,152 holes. That's too many holes for one table. I broke a bit today. Let's see if I have more that makes 7 or 8. It's time to go to the store.